Do you know how to use ci and ne in Italian? Do these two little words leave you wondering what on earth you were thinking when you decided to study Italian? Don't worry, even native Italians find these little words confusing and often use them out of habit rather than because they are aware of the grammar rules behind them. The main challenge is that these two tiny words don't have direct equivalents in English and serve different purposes, which makes them trickier to master at first. But don't worry, in this lesson you'll learn what ci and ne mean in Italian, all the ways that they are used, and you'll also learn when to use the words li or ci to mean there, plus my top tip to help you remember when to use ci and ne. And don't worry about taking notes, I've done all the hard work for you. To help you practice, make sure you download your free PDF cheat sheet for this lesson, which includes all the vocabulary and examples that you're about to see here today. Just click on the link in the description box below this video. Pronti? Iniziamo! So what are ci and ne in Italian? Now, ci and ne are pronominal particles, which means their main job is to replace words or whole parts of a sentence to avoid repetition and redundancy in text and conversations. Take a look at these examples.
Vuoi del gelato?
Do you want some ice cream?
Sì, vorrei un po' di gelato.
Yes, I'd like some ice cream. Becomes
Sì, ne vorrei un po'.
yes, I'd like some. See that by substituting di gelato of ice cream with the particle ne, the answer becomes much smoother. Here's another example.
Siete mai stati a Tropea?
Have you ever been to Tropea?
Sì, andiamo a Tropea ogni estate.
Yes, we go to Tropea every summer. Becomes
Sì, ci andiamo ogni estate.
yes, we go there every summer. Similarly, by replacing tropea, meaning to Tropea, with ci makes the response more fluid. Ci and ne are generally positioned before the verb. However, when the verb is in its infinitive, gerund, or imperative form, these particles attach to the end of the verb, forming a single word. For example,
Hai già pensato all'argomento per la tesi?
have you already thought about your thesis topic?
Sì, ci ho pensato.
Yes, I've thought about it.
No, non voglio pensarci.
No, I don't want to think about it. Now let's see all the main meanings of these two particles and how they work in Italian. Starting with, what does ne mean? The particle ne serves four primary purposes. It can substitute an indirect object pronoun, a possessive adjective, an adverb of place, or a partitive. The good news is that ne never changes because it works with both masculine and feminine nouns, regardless of whether they are singular or plural. One important thing to note is that when ne carries an accent, as in
Ne,
it becomes a conjunction and means neither or nor. For example,
non mi piacciono le melanzane. Non ne mangio mai.
I don't like aubergines. I never eat them. Ne stands for le melanzane, aubergines.
Non mi piacciono le melanzane né le zucchine.
I don't like aubergines nor courgettes. Ne means nor. Ne as an indirect object pronoun. In this role, ne substitutes indirect object pronouns, meaning those indicating to whom or for whom something is done, and introduced by the prepositions di, of or about, or da, meaning from or by. Let's clarify with some examples. Number 1, ne replaces
Di qualcosa, di qualcuno.
of or about something or someone. For example,
Antonio è innamoratissimo di Maria. Ne parla sempre.
Antonio is totally in love with Maria. He always talks about her. Here, ne stands for
Di Maria.
about Maria.
Ti va di parlare di quello che è successo? Sì, parliamone.
Do you want to talk about what happened? Yes, let's talk about it. Here, ne stands for
Di quello che è successo.
about what happened. Number 2, ne replaces
Da qualcosa. Da qualcuno.
from or by someone or something. For example,
Ho conosciuto Anna e ne sono rimasto molto colpito.
I met Anna and I was very impressed by her. Here, ne stands for
Da lei.
by her.
L'incendio ha creato tantissimo fumo. La campagna qui intorno ne è avvolta.
The fire created a lot of smoke. The countryside around here is shrouded in it. Here, ne stands for
Da esso.
by it. Are you enjoying this lesson? Don't let the learning stop here. Make sure you download your free PDF cheat sheet for this lesson, and you'll find a link to that in the description box below this video. Now let's take a look at ne as a possessive adjective. Now, ne can replace the third person possessive adjectives, including
Suo. Sua. Loro.
For instance, consider the sentence,
Conosco bene Anna e apprezzo la sua schiettezza.
I know Anna well and appreciate her frankness. Now, while grammatically this is correct, you can make it more fluid by saying,
Conosco bene Anna e ne apprezzo la sua schiettezza.
I know Anna well and appreciate her frankness. Here, ne stands for la sua, her. Here's another example.
Ho già sentito questa parola, ma non ne capisco il significato.
I've heard this word before, but I don't understand its meaning. Here, ne replaces il suo, meaning its. Now let's take a look at ne as an adverb of place. Ne also functions as an adverb of place, replacing phrases like from this or that place. That indicates the origin of a specific location. Let's explore some examples to understand how it's used.
Che mattinata! Sono entrata in aula per l'esame alle 8 e ne sono uscita solo 3 ore dopo.
What a morning! I entered the exam room at 8 and left only 3 hours later. Ne stands for
Dall'aula.
from the exam room.
Sono andato alla festa, ma me ne sono andato via subito.
I went to the party but left immediately. Here, ne stands for
Via dalla festa.
from the party. Additionally, ne as an adverb of place can be used figuratively. For example,
Hanno avuto una brutta crisi, ma ne sono usciti.
they had a bad crisis, but they got out of it. Here, ne stands for
Dalla crisi.
from the crisis.
Sono stati 2 anni di inferno, ma ne è uscita più forte.
It was 2 years of hell, but she came out stronger. Ne stands for
Da quei 2 anni.
from those 2 years. Ne can also be a partitive pronoun. Now, as a partitive pronoun, ne is used to indicate a quantity of something, whether definite or indefinite, starting with definite quantities. Now, when referring to a precise quantity, ne is paired with a number or unit of measurement. For example,
Quanti libri hai comprato?
how many books have you bought?
Ne ho comprati 3.
I've bought 3. Ne stands for libri, books. Another example is,
Quanto latte hai usato per questa torta?
how much milk did you use for this cake?
Ne ho usato mezzo litro.
I used half a litre. Ne stands for latte, milk. It's important to note that when ne is followed by a number, the past participle of the verb should match the gender and number of the noun of the particle it refers to. For example,
Quanti amici hai invitato?
how many friends have you invited?
Ne ho invitati 3.
I invited 3 of them. Ne stands for amici, friends. Another example is,
Quante amiche hai invitato?
how many girlfriends have you invited?
Ne ho invitate 3.
I invited 3 of them. Ne stands for amiche, girlfriends. Similarly, when the sentence specifies a container or unit of measurement, then the past participle agrees with the gender of that container or unit. For example,
Ieri a cena ho esagerato con la pasta. Ne ho mangiati 2 piatti.
last night at dinner I overdid it with the pasta. I ate 2 dishes. Ne stands for piatti, dishes.
La farina che producono qui è buonissima. Ne ho comprati 5 chili.
The flour they make here is so good. I bought 5 kilos of it. Ne stands for farina, flour. Now let's take a look at indefinite quantities. When ne refers to an indefinite quantity, it's often used with indefinite adjectives and pronouns like
Un po',
some,
qualcuno.
and so on, to indicate a general amount. For example,
Vuoi dell'insalata?
would you like some salad?
Sì, grazie. Ne prendo un po'.
Yes, please, I'll take some. Ne stands for insalata, salad.
Hai già letto i libri che ti ho regalato?
Have you already read the books I gifted you?
Sì, ne ho letto qualcuno.
Yes, I've read some. Ne stands for libri, books. Now let's take a look at zero quantity. Now, ne can also be used to indicate zero amounts of something. In this case, the past participle agrees with the gender of the noun ne refers to, but not with the number. For example,
Quanti panini hai?
how many sandwiches do you have?
Non ne ho nessuno. Li ho dimenticati a casa.
I have none. I forgot them at home. Ne stands for panini, sandwiches.
Hai assaggiato queste caramelle?
Have you tried this candy?
No, non ne ho provata nessuna.
No, I haven't tried any. Ne stands for caramelle, candy. So how do you talk about entire quantities? Well, when discussing the entirety of something, you shouldn't use ne. Instead, use the pronouns lo, la, li, and le. Let's clarify this with an example. Say you're at the butcher's and the attendant asks,
Quante polpette vuole?
how many meatballs do you want? You can answer in two ways.
Le voglio tutte.
I want them all. Le stands for all the polpette, meatballs. So you're talking about the entire amount.
Ne voglio 6.
I want 6. Ne stands for some polpette. So you're specifying a part of the quantity. Are you enjoying this lesson? Don't let the learning stop here. Make sure you download your free PDF cheat sheet for this lesson, which you'll find a link to in the description box below this video. Now let's take a look at pronominal verbs with ne. Now, the particle ne can be found in several pronominal verbs, which are verbs that integrate a pronoun that either emphasize or modify its meaning. For instance, andare means to go, but andarne means to be at stake, as in,
È una decisione importante. Ne va del mio futuro.
it's an important decision. My future depends on it. Now, these verbs are frequently used in everyday Italian, so it's important to become familiar with them. Take a look at the most common ones that you'll encounter.
Fregarsene.
To give a damn. For example,
Non me ne frega niente di quello che pensa la gente.
I don't give a damn what people think.
Stanne fuori.
To stay out of something. For example,
Stanne fuori. Non sono affari tuoi.
stay out of it. It's none of your business.
Non poterne più. Averne piene le scatole. Averne fin sopra i capelli.
This means not being able to take it anymore, being full of it, or to have it up to the hair. For example,
Non ne posso più delle sue bugie.
I can't stand his lies anymore.
Farne di tutti i colori.
To misbehave, to cause mischief. For example,
I figli di Mario sono delle pesti. Ne fanno sempre di tutti i colori.
Mario's kids are pests. They always misbehave.
Dirne di tutti i colori.
To say all sorts of things, usually in a negative sense. For example,
Quando si arrabbia, ne dice di tutti i colori.
when he gets angry, he says all sorts of things.
Vederne delle belle.
To see beautiful things. This is mostly used sarcastically. For example,
Domani inizia la campagna elettorale. Ne vedremo delle belle.
tomorrow the election campaign begins. We'll see some interesting things.
Valerne la pena.
To be worth it. For example,
Arrivare fino alla cima è stato difficilissimo, ma ne è valsa la pena. Guarda che spettacolo!
Getting to the top was very difficult, but it was worth it. Look how gorgeous it is.
Saperne una più del diavolo.
To have many tricks up one's sleeve. For example,
Matteo ne sa sempre una più del diavolo. Ma come fa?
Matteo is incredibly smart. How does he do it?
Venirne a capo.
To get to the bottom of something. For example,
Sono ore che provo a risolvere questo esercizio, ma non ne vengo a capo.
I've been trying to solve this exercise for hours, but I can't get to the bottom of it.
Lavarsene le mani.
To wash your hands of something, to take no responsibility. For example,
La guida non si è presentata all'appuntamento e l'agenzia se ne è lavata le mani.
the tour guide didn't show up for the appointment and the agency took no responsibility for it.
Guardarsene bene.
To avoid something like the plague. For example,
Paolo sapeva tutto e se ne è guardato bene dal dirmelo.
Paolo knew everything and steered clear of telling me.
Non averne la più pallida idea.
This means not to have the faintest idea. For example,
Ho chiesto a un passante dove possiamo trovare un bagno, ma ha detto di non averne la più pallida idea.
I asked a passerby if there's a bathroom nearby, but they said that they haven't got the faintest idea. Firstly, there's a well-known Italian saying that uses the particle ne, which is,
Morto un papa, se ne fa un altro.
this means when one pope dies, another one is made. This expression suggests that nobody is indispensable, similar to the English saying, there's plenty more fish in the sea. For instance,
Non piangere per quell'idiota di Marco. Morto un papa, se ne fa un altro.
don't cry over that idiot Marco, there are plenty more fish in the sea. So what does ci mean in Italian? Well, like ne, ci is a versatile little word in Italian that remains unchanged in form, regardless of gender or number, and carries lots of different meanings. Let's break down how it's used. Ci as a direct object pronoun. So ci functions as a direct object pronoun, replacing the direct object noi, meaning us, in a sentence. For example,
Angela ci adora. Siamo come figli per lei.
Angela loves us very much. We are like children to her. Here,
Ci adora.
she loves us means
Adora noi.
she loves us. But saying
Angela adora noi. Siamo come figli per lei.
sounds rather awkward. So swapping noi with the particle ci makes the sentence flow better and sound much more natural. Here are some more examples.
Chiamaci appena arrivi a casa.
Call us as soon as you get home
Chiamaci.
means
Chiama noi.
call us.
Luca mi ha detto che ci ha visto al bar ieri.
Luca told me he saw us at the bar yesterday.
Ci ha visto.
He saw us means
Ha visto noi.
he saw us. Ci also works as an indirect object pronoun indicating the recipient or beneficiary of an action. Specifically, it replaces
Ha con noi. Lui. Lei. Loro.
meaning to or with us, him, her, or them. Here's an example to make this clearer.
Roberto ci ha regalato i biglietti per il concerto.
Roberto gifted us 2 tickets for the concert. Here,
Ci ha regalato.
gifted us means
Ha regalato a noi.
gifted us, but saying
Roberto ha regalato a noi 2 biglietti per il concerto.
this doesn't sound natural at all. Instead, using the participle ci to replace a noi to us makes the sentence more fluid. Here are some more examples.
Hai parlato con Laura della festa?
Have you talked to Laura about the party?
No, non ho ancora parlato con lei.
No, I haven't talked to her yet.
No, non ci ho ancora parlato.
No, I haven't talked to her yet. Ci stands for con lei, with her.
Conosco Paolo e Antonio. Lavoro spesso con loro.
I know Paolo and Antonio. I often work with them. Becomes
Conosco Paolo e Antonio. Ci lavoro spesso.
I know Paolo and Antonio. I often work with them. Ci stands for con loro, with them. Ci can also be a reflexive pronoun. Another common use of ci in Italian is serving as the reflexive pronoun for the first person plural when conjugating reflexive verbs. This means that when the subject and object of a sentence are identical, this particle is employed to denote this reflexive action with the meaning of ourselves. For instance, in the sentence,
Ci vestiamo sempre di nero.
we always dress in black. Ci indicates that the action of dressing is being done by us to ourselves. Here are some more examples.
Ricordati che dobbiamo svegliarci presto domani.
Remember that we have to wake up early tomorrow.
Ci siamo addormentati e non abbiamo visto la fine del film.
We fell asleep and didn't watch the end of the movie. Ci can be an adverb of place. The particle ci can replace a noun referring to a place or location in a sentence. Typically, these nouns are introduced by the prepositions
A,
to,
in,
su,
on,
or
da.
meaning to or at. For example,
Andiamo a pranzo dai miei domenica?
shall we go to my parents for lunch on Sunday?
Non mi va di andarci.
I don't feel like going there. Ci replaces
Dai tuoi.
to your parents. Here's another example.
Sei già salito all'ultimo piano? C'è una vista stupenda.
Have you already gone up to the top floor? There's a beautiful view.
No, non ci sono ancora salito. Vado subito a vedere.
No, I haven't been up there yet. I'll go and see it straight away. Ci replaces
All'ultimo piano.
to the top floor. Are you enjoying this lesson? Don't let the learning stop here. Make sure you download your free PDF cheat sheet for this lesson, which you'll find a link to in the description box below this video. So how do you use c'è and ci sono in Italian? Now, in its role as an adverb of place, ci can combine with essere, to be, to form the verb
Esserci.
which indicates that something exists. It's there. This verb is conjugated as c'è, there is, as a contraction of
Ci più è.
which are never used separately for the third person singular, and ci sono, there are, for the third person plural. For instance, in the sentence,
Ci sono tantissime cose da vedere a Firenze.
there are loads of things to see in Florence. Ci sono indicates the presence of many things to see. For example,
C'è della birra in frigo?
is there any beer in the fridge?
Finalmente c'è il sole.
Finally, it's sunny.
Non ci sono nuvole all'orizzonte.
There are no clouds on the horizon. Attenzione, sometimes you might encounter,
Ce n'è. Ce ne sono.
instead of,
C'è. Ci sono.
although they mean the same in English, there is and there are.
Ce n'è. Ce ne sono.
These are primarily used as responses to questions asking about quantities. Let's clarify this with some more examples.
C'è della pasta avanzata.
There's some pasta left.
Quanta pasta è avanzata?
How much pasta is left?
Ce n'è abbastanza da sfamare un esercito.
There's enough to feed an army.
Ci sono 2 birre in frigo.
There are 2 beers in the fridge.
Quante birre ci sono in frigo?
How many beers are in the fridge?
Ce ne sono solo 2.
There are only 2. Ci can also be a demonstrative pronoun. Now, ci frequently acts as a demonstrative pronoun, replacing words like
Questo,
this,
quello,
that,
ciò.
meaning this or that, which point to specific objects or individuals and are commonly introduced by the prepositions such as
Di,
about,
in,
su, meaning on, and
a.
for about. For example,
Ci penso e ti faccio sapere.
I'll think about it and let you know. Ci means
A ciò.
meaning about it.
Verrò di sicuro. Ci puoi contare.
I'll definitely come. You can count on that. Ci means
Su questo.
on that.
Non faccio mai colazione. Ci sono abituato.
I never eat breakfast. I'm used to it. Ci means
a ciò.
to it. Now let's take a look at some pronominal verbs with ci. Similar to ne, the particle ci can also be found in many Italian pronominal verbs, serving to either strengthen or modify their meaning. A great example is the verb
Cascare.
which means to fall down, but when combined with ci, it becomes
Cascarci.
meaning to be tricked. Here is a list of the most common pronominal Italian verbs that use ci, starting with
Volerci.
this means to need or to take. For example,
Quanto tempo ci vuole per arrivare a Roma?
how long does it take to arrive in Rome?
Metterci.
To need, to take. For example,
Quanto tempo ci metti per prepararti?
how long does it take to get ready?
Arrivarci.
To understand.
Proprio non ci arrivi? Sono innamorato di te.
Don't you get it? I'm in love with you.
Tenerci.
To care for. For example,
Ci tengo molto alla nostra amicizia.
I care a lot about our friendship.
Entrarci.
To have to do with. For example,
Stefania non c'entra niente. È colpa mia.
Stefania has nothing to do with it. It's my fault. Attenzione! Entrarci, to have to do with, is conjugated with an apostrophe to distinguish it from another verb,
Centrare.
which means to center or to hit the target. Another verb is
Starci.
this means to be interested or to be in. In dating vocabulary, it can also mean being interested in initiating a relationship, often with a sexual component. For example,
Sabato andiamo al mare. Ci state?
Saturday we're going to the beach. Are you in?
Marco la corteggia da mesi, ma lei non ci sta.
Marco has been courting her for months, but she's not interested.
Vederci.
To be able to see. This is mostly used in expressions like
Non ci vedo più dalla fame.
I'm starving.
Voglio vederci chiaro.
I want to understand with absolute clarity.
Provarci.
To try. In the context of dating, this is often used to mean to make a move on someone. For example,
Sarà difficile trovare i biglietti, ma vogliamo provarci.
finding tickets will be difficult, but we want to try.
Antonio ci ha provato con la ragazza di Mauro.
Antonio tried to seduce Mauro's girlfriend.
Rimetterci.
To lose. For example,
Il biglietto non era modificabile e ci ho rimesso i soldi.
the ticket couldn't be changed, so I lost my money.
Scapparci.
To happen disgracefully. This is mainly used in the idiom
Scapparci il morto.
someone can die. For example,
Quelle maledette buche hanno provocato un brutto incidente. Poteva persino scapparci il morto.
those darn potholes caused a nasty accident. Someone could have ended up dead. Are you enjoying this lesson? Don't let the learning stop here. Make sure you download your free PDF cheat sheet and you'll find a link to that in the description box below this video. So what about li and ci? When should you use them? Ci and li are commonly confused because both can be translated to mean there. However, they have different roles in a sentence and they cannot be used interchangeably. Li is an adverb and it's used to specify the place or location being discussed. It typically follows the verb. For example,
Vado lì la prossima settimana per vedere di persona lo stato dei lavori.
I'm going there next week to personally check on the progress of the work. Ci, on the other hand, is a pronoun that replaces a place or location previously mentioned in the conversation. It usually appears before the verb. For example,
Hai visto che hanno aperto la mostra? Ci vado la prossima settimana.
have you seen that they've opened the exhibit? I'm going next week. Allora, here is my top tip for using ci and ne. Now, an effective way to become comfortable with the usage of both ci and ne in Italian is to familiarize yourself with the main verbs that they commonly accompany. For example, ne is often used with verbs like
Parlare.
to speak,
Comprare.
to buy, and
Mangiare.
To eat. For example,
Ne parlo.
I talk about that.
Ne compro.
I buy it.
Ne mangio.
I eat it. Whereas ci is frequently paired with verbs like
Pensare.
to think,
Andare.
to go,
Credere.
to believe. For example,
Ci penso.
I think about that.
Ci vado.
I go there.
Ci credo.
I believe that. Now, practicing these combinations will help you gain confidence in using these particles across various contexts. Now, to continue your learning and to help you practice, make sure you download your free PDF cheat sheet for this lesson, which you'll find a link to in the description box below this video. If you enjoyed this lesson, then you'll love Intrepid Italian, my series of online self-paced video courses that break down everything you need to know about Italian using my unique 80-20 method. More details in the description below. And if you enjoyed this lesson, make sure that you watch this video lesson here on how to cheat your way to fluency using modal verbs. It's a real game changer. And to master 100 most commonly used words in Italian, watch this video lesson here. In the meantime, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel and turn on those notifications so you get an alert when I post more video lessons like this one. Until next time, un abbraccio, ciao!